Welcome to the channel, everyone. I pray you're doing well. So, in today's episode, the primary thing that I'll be doing is I'll be planting a new garden. It's September right now, so now is the perfect time to get started on your garden right before or right when fall is starting and winter is starting, the colder seasons. And so, I'm going to plant that in ground, and then I'm also going to put a couple of seeds in my raised bed garden. And then before that, because that's like the primary thing that I wanted to share with you first. But before that, the secondary thing I wanted to show you is the progress on the prior garden I did during I think that was the spring and summer, but I know for sure it was the summer. I'll kind of just shorten the clips, but just show you some of the other things that have happened outside of the episode where I showed you me planting them. So I planted these gardens back on May 3rd. Now, keep in mind, this was right around the middle of a drought. The day was dry, the grass was brown, and we hadn't seen rain in weeks. But out of nowhere, literally the same day and the day after, it started raining. It was like the skies just decided to show a little mercy and give us some rain. Now, I wish I had all the footage showing how things looked after that, but for some reason I could only find the clips from the planting day, and that was it. So let's jump back into the intro and I'll explain what actually happened to the gardens. Uh, to put it not short, but to just straight up say what happened, the garden was unsuccessful. The in-ground garden. The raised bed garden had some success, but there were some plants in that raised bed garden that weren't successful. In short, or not in short, but just the analysis that I've come up with is that there were a mix of things that caused the garden to be in ground to be unsuccessful. I believe maybe some of the seeds were dead. I know I don't think the soil has had the nutrition that it's needed, or doesn't have the nutrition that or didn't have the nutrition that it needed, because there have been so many gardens planted over the years in that soil, and it hasn't, I don't feel, been properly renourished. Another thing was there was a lot of rain, which I wasn't anticipating. I didn't really see it in the forecast, but there was a lot of rain right after I planted some of those plants, whether it was the seed, whether it was the plants that had already sprouted, and it basically flooded them out and drowned the plants. So it was a mix of all those things. I believe too, and I'll show you that when I'm showing you what I'm going to plant. I believe it was just a mix of two instructions, because I was kind of just planting the seeds in the ground. So that in-ground garden, really every plant in that garden, like, I didn't get anything out of it. Um, the raised bed garden, my purple broccoli started to grow some. That was one of the plants that I was most happy about, but I didn't actually get a broccoli floret. I had broccoli leaves. I was able to harvest those and eat those, because you can eat broccoli, those type of broccoli leaves at least, and I enjoyed that. I also had some chard lettuce that I planted. It was pretty good, and it didn't grow like I was wanting it to, but it grew pretty decently. Some of the things, well, one of the things I know didn't grow, or some of them, was the tomato plants. Like, the tomato plant grew, but there were no tomatoes that came from it. I think I planted lavender, and that didn't grow. There were a couple other herbs that I planted, and they didn't grow at all either, from what I saw. So over the last week or so, I've taken the time to, like, we've taken up all the, like, dead plants. We've put in weed killer to kill any weeds that were in the in-ground garden. All I had to do for my raised bed was take the weeds, or not the weeds, but the dead plants out, and that was it. And for the in-ground garden, I tilled up the soil. I'm gonna do that again. I'm gonna let you see me, like, just do one more little quick till to, like, soften up the soil before I plant the seeds. And the raised bed, I don't need to, like, do anything to that soil. I might hoe it a little bit, but that's pretty much it. And so what I'll be planting in the in-ground garden is all here. And in this and then in this blue Ziploc bag is what I'll be planting in the raised bed garden. So for the in-ground garden, I'm going to do cabbage, golden acre. I'm going to follow the instructions as best as possible. The next thing I'm going to do is, and also I'm going to put a link in the description for where I purchased this brand at. And I don't remember what it was called. The Page Seed Company. So on the back it's saying the Page Seed Company, but like I said, I'm gonna put the link up in the description so you can see the company I purchased it from, because I like this company. Sear Seed, I think is what it's called, which I showed you in that first episode or that prior episode. But that batch of seeds that I got from them, there was a pack that I opened, and I don't think I was able to post that episode. There was a pack of seeds that I had in that like variety pack where there was no seeds in it, so I had to return it back. And in my spirit, I just felt like I wanted to go with a different brand this time, so that's where this brand came from. I'm gonna try them. I saw good reviews on them, but I still do have some of that other brand as well. But the next one I'm gonna plant is Collard's Champion. Um, the next is, and what I'm trying to do is I'm gonna have all my greens first, and then I think they're called root plants, but like those will be next, and then I'm gonna do pumpkin last. But so the next green would be tulip seven top. The next one would be lettuce butter crunch, and then the root plant. I think that's what these are called. Let me know in the description if you know what these are called, like they're what they're kind of categorized as. But the next one is carrot. It's called Nate's Corliss, and the next will be beet, Detroit dark red, and then reddish, China rose, scarlet China winter reddish. And then the next will be tulip, purple top, white globe, and the next is gonna be onion, green scallop, and the next I'm gonna do is pumpkin, jack-o'-lantern. And this, I just thought this would be fun because I know October's coming up, and then even to November. So if it's not if it hasn't grown by October, then hopefully it'll grow by November, and I can I don't know, do something pumpkin related with it. And then in this blue Ziploc bag, I have kale lacinato, I think it's. Oops, some seeds fell out. We might have some kale right there. I think that's how that's pronounced, lacinato, and then arugula, and then I have broccoli, calaverse green sprouting, and then broccoli early purple sprouting, and then I also have lettuce winter density. So I'm thinking I'm only, yeah, I'll do all of them because I have some of them actually already planted and sprouting. So yeah, that's pretty much that. um I'm gonna plant these and show you the process, but we're gonna start off with tilling the ground up and then go from there. So I feel like now's a good time to let you know what I'm doing. Right now, I'm trying to define a clear perimeter that's even around the garden, and then I'll go through until the inner portion of it. Because right now, even this line I've made, it doesn't look as straight as I thought it was. But right now, like it's kind of like crooked. Like as you can see, it like starts here and then it goes out here, and I want it to be like straight. So That's what I'm trying to do right now, and why I kind of like randomly stopped in the middle when I was on the left hand side. So I'll come back up to the top and do that when I get back around to it. I'm not gonna go back and do it. And this side's pretty much good. I'm just like loosening up the ground. It's pretty much straight here. So I'm gonna push the grill back a little bit. I'm still not gonna go back too far anyway because there's a tree sprouting there. Okay, that's good. This was a lot looser than I thought it was. So all I have to do now is this back section right here, and then I'll come back up around. And if you're wondering, yes, there are roots for that tree right there. So I'm probably not gonna go into this too much. Okay, so now I can pick back up where I left off here. Trying not to run over the cord. Okay, I feel like that's good. Now I gotta straighten that line out, and we'll go through the middle, and then we'll start planting. I actually need to see it from this view or this vantage point, because when I'm going the other way it looks straight, but when I see it here it's not. Have to go over about this far, but there's cement right here, so I'm not trying to hit that cement. Okay, that's good. Okay, probably just gonna do one pass throughout the middle, and that's it. This looks like a huge dust bowl. That's it. It's time to start planting. So it's saying pretty much for all of these, I can't say every single green, but most of these greens is saying that they need 24 inches per row. And this is about a foot. I'm doing it the old school way, I guess. I was gonna use this board, but this is like 1 foot, 2 feet. So I'll start that next row right here. And then just so we're ahead on the next row would be like 24 feet. Because just in general, the collards, because that's what I'm doing next, it needs 24 inches as well per row. So they'll be here. So the next row would have to be right here, regardless of what the plant is. Yeah, so I feel like I could clearly like tell that. Okay. Because like I don't have a tape. I have a tape measure, but I don't have a tape measure and all those extra things out here with me. So kind of have to just. That's what gardening is. It's like an art. So I'm making a painting. This is my canvas. So yeah. And again, I'm just using this wooden stake because I don't need anything special in my opinion. Because it only needs to be planted a half an inch at the most. So I'm just drawing my line for the row, and just this tip is about 1 inch. And even when I dig the tip in all the way, there's still like, it doesn't go all the way 1 inch. So like this is about half an inch for me. It was the same for the plant before it. And the spacing for each collard they're saying is only 1 inch. So it looks like I can plant a lot of these. I'm still gonna give it a little more just to be on the safe side because I'm not 100% sure if they mean 1 inch or 1 foot.
Well, thank you all for joining. I pray that you enjoyed. I know I can say I definitely enjoyed this entire process. I feel like I was able to take a lot from the prior planning session and bring it over to this session. And I also enjoyed sharing information with you all that hopefully you can utilize in your gardening. And I wanted to add, I realized there wasn't a lot of me talking in the last scene, and there really wasn't any of me talking in this scene. There was more footage in this last scene, but it did get cut off because my phone died. But I wanted to share that towards the end, in the scene before this, I basically was digging a trench for each of the rows that I was planning because I was noticing it was getting dark faster than I expected, and I was also getting a little tired. So basically what I was doing was I was just basically randomly dropping seeds inside the trenches. And I did the same in my raised bed garden. I just dug a trench and a little small trench, and I just dropped the seeds in kind of in a randomized order and or a random order. And what I'm planning to do is, as they start to grow, if I find plants are too close together, I'll just pick them up and see if there's other space I can plant them in. If not, then I'll just try to find something else to do with them. But that's why I was doing that. Like I said, I was just realizing it was getting dark faster than I was expecting, which is why it's so dark now. And then I was just, running out of time, and I was also getting tired. But I really enjoyed this. I pray that you all enjoyed it as well, and I can't wait to see you in the next episode.